Is it okay for me to use this on my own channel as well, or do you
Of
want this?
course.
Okay,
Yeah, that's fine. And then how long are we going, just so I know?
20 to 30 minutes at the most.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm a pro. I've been doing this for a long time.
Good.
I started to call myself a pro, but that's
Hey, if you've done a lot of reps, I'll count you as a pro too.
okay. Cool. Yeah, I haven't counted how many interviews I've done yet, but there's been maybe 150 or so. So
Nice.
I'm doing it. I'm doing 16 this week.
That's good. I know I used to do 50 a week, and
Oh,
I've done 1,600 interviews, more than that, but
wow.
yeah.
That's awesome. I'm not pushing it hard enough. Okay, well, that's good to know. I thought
You
I
know,
was pushing it.
yeah, I was a machine for 1 year. I did like 40 to 50 every single week. So you do the math and it adds up very quick.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. So it gives me something to strive for. I had to do that with my videos. I've done over 3,000 videos and over 2,000 of them lives,
Nice.
just in the last 3.5 years.
Good
And
job.
dang, that's a lot.
It's
Yeah,
such a powerful tool for people to use video, and not enough people understand the power of it. So,
exactly. And you want to talk about that a little bit today during the personal branding talk?
oh yeah, definitely.
Perfect. Because I love video, and we can maybe it'll be an hour. I don't know.
We'll see.
I'll try to stick to the half hour though. Hi, this is Linda West with Living Live, and I'm so excited to interview Mark Lack. And today, he's so amazing at what he does. He's going to talk about personal branding, which is going to be like our #1 topic. But I want to start off by introducing him. So as a kid, Mark was labeled as a failure early on in school by his teachers and peers. I was there too, Mark. I just want to share that with you. So I totally resonated with you on
Yeah.
this one, because he wasn't passionate about what he was being taught in class. Well, who is really? So he struggled immensely all throughout school. He was tall, skinny, pale-skinned, freckled, and introverted, and he became an easy target to be picked on and bullied. At the age of 14, though, he found something that made him feel respected and that he could escape. Guess what it was? You'll never guess. I won't even make you guess. Paintball. It's like, paintball? That was like, whoa, crazy. I've never even played paintball. You're going to have to take me out for paintball someday.
All right. We'll be on the same team.
Exactly. Oh, yay. I want that. So from 14 to 18, he shot his way to being one of the best and highest paid extreme pro paintball athletes in the world, which I didn't even know there was such a thing. It's like, I'm learning all this amazing stuff just by reading your bio. See, paintball allowed him to travel internationally, competing and racking up a room full of trophies and over, get this, $300,000 in prize money between him and his team. The crazy thing was, paintball was the only area in his life where he felt significant. And I know that many of us can relate to that, right? So maybe not with paintball, with something else.
Yeah.
So paintball, it met its demise a few years later when the economy dropped. So he searched the internet for answers. Google, how do I be more confident? Google, how do I become successful? Well, that night, the direction and purpose in his life changed forever. He met Tony Robbins online, right? So his mantra, which I love this mantra, is always learn, always grow, always teach. And that has allowed him to become a best-selling author, self-made millionaire in his 20s, international speaker, entrepreneur's top-ranked personal branding expert, and partner and host of the largest business show in America, Business Rockstars. It's broadcasted on television and tens of millions of screens in airline companies like Delta. So now Mark is committed to showing 1 million people how to build and grow their personal brands in a way that impacts millions of people. He does this through his show, social media, books, speaking, digital programs, masterminds, partnerships, workshops, and one-on-one. And I'm sure there's a lot more too. We just didn't mention there.
Yeah.
I saw this, I was like, wow, this is really cool. He is overwhelmed with gratitude because of the way his life has unfolded and the life that he continually works on designing. So with that said, welcome, Mark. I'm so honored to have you and
Thank
to
you.
have this chance to speak to you and learn more about who Mark Lack is. I mean, geez, your
I mean,
last
you pretty
name.
much just did it. You read my whole bio from like top to bottom on my site. So it's like, bam, bam, bam. Everybody knows everything now. I don't know what else to talk about.
Oh, come on. I'm sure you'll find something. Well, first of all, your last name is not indicative of you at all. You should change your last name.
But it was the opposite in school. All my teachers were like, "Your last name is perfect fitting," and I was like, "Thanks
Oh
for
my
being a
gosh.
great teacher."
Well, it's crazy. I had an eighth grade geometry teacher. Yes, I was terrible at geometry because I didn't get like the shapes and stuff. I was great at algebra, but she said, "You're never going to amount to nothing. You should drop out of math." I was like, "Whoa, that's an eighth grade teacher," and I believed her.
Yeah, exactly.
So let me ask you, let's just talk about that really quick. So as far as your childhood, growing up with that kind of environment, being bullied, so you totally get the bullying thing that kids are going through
Yeah.
now. How can you,
I feel like everybody gets bullied,
yeah,
at some point in their life. And the sad thing is that the kids that are bullied at school is because they're either getting bullied at home by their dad or their parent or their older brother, or somebody bullied them at one point, and that's why they bully. Very few people ever want to bully. And, if you look at like frustration as a whole, very few people are ever just born frustrated, and frustration
right.
starts from something that triggers it. And so same with bullying. And so people that are angry or want to fight, there's something that triggered them early on. A baby's not born wanting to fight and bully and pick on people. So bullies themselves have been bullied, and the way that they build themselves back up is to keep that feedback loop going. They now bully other people to make them feel stronger so that they don't feel like a victim when they're being bullied. And
Yeah.
so it's just this feedback loop, and it's unfortunate because there's better ways to overcome it, and it's just sad. So when if obviously nobody watching this is probably being bullied anymore. That's like childhood stuff. But
Right.
yeah, just something to remember.
Well, that's actually because sometimes it happens in adulthood too, but it depends on who you're hanging out with, right? So,
Yeah,
like,
I can't even fathom that adults. The sad thing is adults are
yeah,
really just grown up children, and so I'm sure not in my environments, but I can't even fathom being around adults, grown ups that have years in their lives, decades in their lives that would still bully. But I know that it exists.
yeah.
Not in my environments or
And
anything.
that's awesome because at such a young age, you immersed yourself into an environment that I didn't even discover until I was 51. So
Paintball?
no, not paintball. I'm sorry. The self-development,
Oh
self-growth,
yeah, yeah.
and I didn't even know that existed because, I lived in a different world, and I had jobs where I was bullied or other people were bullied. And sometimes I stepped in and sometimes I didn't. I just cowered in the corner and I was
Yeah,
scared.
because we're never taught how
Yeah,
to react to certain things in life. So it's not like you should ever feel bad if you've never been taught. So
yeah,
it's unfortunate that not a lot of people have the blessing of understanding their true potential, and
yeah,
it usually starts from something that triggers a level of awareness, and an awareness that you can have everything you want in life, that you can meet and hang out with the most incredible people in the world, and you yourself can become the most incredible person in the world. It's just unfortunate. And if you look around you go to these personal development events like Tony Robbins, and Tony Robbins is appealing to more young people now, but that's because he knows in order to keep his legacy going, he has to appeal to the young people so that they keep talking about Tony and his generation. His legacy carries on. But
mm-hmm.
a lot of the generations of personal development and self-help, they're always 40 years old, maybe 30s, but usually 40s and 50s. And that's because by the time you graduate college, you just want to get a job. And
Yeah,
you're like, oh man, don't hand me another book. I'm done with school. I'm done with school. I'm done. Don't hand me another book. Only time I'll educate myself is if my job tells me I have to get more education. Other than that, you're done with school. And so the last thing you want to do is pick up more books and do more homework and stuff like that, because your association to reading, or at least mine was negative. I was reading, every time I associated reading, it was with books that had nothing. I associated negative patterns to relearning, because everything I had to learn was something that I'd always been passionate about. But yeah, I mean, I think that it's unfortunate that most people in life find out later that the secrets to success are hidden within books. And
yes.
I have like at least 1,000 books behind me. I mean, my bookshelf goes up higher.
Oh my gosh, you need
And
another house.
and well, I have this is my brand new home I just bought. I've got 5 bedrooms, and it's just me and my fiance.
Well,
So
congratulations.
I have other rooms full of books. But the secrets to what you want in life are hidden within books, and it's unfortunate that most people they don't
Yeah.
read. They don't read enough. And I'm the biggest hater of reading back in the day, and now
Mm-hmm.
I'm like the biggest advocate of it. So
I'm the same way. I hated reading too, and I don't know if it had to do with some things that some teachers said or what have you. But I guess that's not important. What's important is I have discovered the value of reading, and how sometimes all it takes is one sentence that, boom, everything just changes.
Yeah, and it's like the old saying, when the student is ready, the teacher appears.
The teacher will appear. Yeah, and that's such a great saying. I use that one all the time because often, well, the teacher is always there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is you've heard that sentence before maybe in your life, but you weren't ready to hear it. And that's why it's so important. Sometimes it's not a matter of reading a bunch of books, although that sounds kind of ironic considering I'm talking about how many books I've read.
Right.
I love books because I'm always looking for that one thing hidden in a book. I'll read a book, 200, 300, 400 pages. I got like 20 books right here. I got more books that you can't see on this side. And like, I'm reading a full book for one sentence, like you were saying, one sentence, one chapter, one idea, one takeaway. And I think in the beginning, you read all these books and you're like expecting to get all this info. But if you just go into a book looking for one thing, you lower your expectation barrier. You're not trying to have this be the book that changes your life. It's not about that. It's about reading as many books as you can for that one thing, because one thing, when acted upon, can change your life. And it's like, if everyone's, I look at life and it's sad. I live in a neighborhood and everybody's like 50 and I'm the age of the children that are the kids of the parents in my neighborhood. As I look out my window right now, brand new neighborhood, all brand new homes just built this year and last year. And I bought the biggest house in the neighborhood, and they come over and they go, "Hey, are your parents here?" And I go, "No, I live here." And they're like, "What?" And it's like, "What do you do?" And I'm like, "Oh, well, I just read lots of books." And it's like, the secrets to success are hidden in books. And it's just unfortunate. The average person doesn't read, I think it's like the average person doesn't read one book a year. Nonfiction. It's some statistic like that. It's ridiculous. Like the average person doesn't even read one educational book a year. And yet the average CEO reads like 30 to 40 or 50 books a year.
That's crazy, huh? Yeah, when you think about that. And, it's just reminded me of something. When I was about, I'd say like 23, 24, I saw that book, Think and Grow Rich. And I picked it up and I started reading it. I think I got about 3 chapters into it. And I was so bored. Yeah. That's because this student wasn't ready to hear all the amazingness. Like now, I read it, you can read it over and over and over again because I pick up something different every time, right?
That's what I was going to say earlier is it's not about reading a bunch of books. Sometimes it's just about reading the same book once every year, because the second time, the third time, the fourth time, it's kind of like if you've ever watched your favorite movie 3 or 4 or 5 times and like you pick up on things you missed. Yeah. So you're like, oh, that's so funny. I didn't even realize that. Your favorite movie becomes even more your favorite movie until you can legitimately remember every little scene, but you have to watch it like 10 times. It's the same thing with a good book. And even as I'm saying this, I'm remembering my top 5 books. I got to probably go back and start to read them again. Cause it's like, sometimes you just need to read the same book. There's books I've read like 4 times, 5 times, audio books. There's this one's not really an audio book. It's an audio training from one of my mentors and friends, John Asseroff. And it like trains your brain about money. And I listened to it hundreds of times, and it's like a meditation, thing that conditions your subconscious mind about wealth and success. And I listened to that hundreds of times. And so it's like, sometimes it's not about constantly doing a new thing, but doing the same thing so many times that you become a master at it. And that's why I hate when people are like, oh, I've been in the personal development industry for 20 years, like studying personal development. Like maybe they have a job or a health or a life, but their health is suffering. Their business isn't where it should be. Their relationships isn't where it should be. Their finances aren't where they want it to be. And I'm like, have you really been in the personal development? Have you really been studying personal development for 20 years? Your life doesn't seem like it's that good. And I'm like, maybe if you just took one of the principles from what you've been studying and became really good at it, instead of reading it and going, yeah, time management, I've heard that. Oh, good habits and rituals, yeah, I've heard that. And you just keep tossing away the most important things. And so I see a lot of people make that mistake when it comes to like learning and reading. They're always like, same thing with social media marketing, which is something that I'm good at, is, marketing online and sales and personal branding, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Right. And it's just sad how many people are always looking for the next thing. What's that? What's the hack? What's the shortcut? What's the algorithm change that I can leverage? And it's like, you're missing the basics of business and human psychology and how to actually have a successful business and interacting with humans. And they're always looking for that next thing that's going to make them more successful. What's that new way I can turn my webinar on, my tripwire, my.
And that's the case too with weight loss, right? With all the weight loss programs, with all the dating programs, with anything, everybody wants that magic pill, the one thing that's going to make them the millionaire at age 20. You know, you became a millionaire in your 20s, and that's a very young age to become a millionaire.
I want to say it took a long time, but of course.
Go ahead, say it.
It took a long time. You know what I mean?
Well, it's all relative.
Funny because, like, of course, it's all relative.
It took 20% of your life to become a millionaire.
I've been doing this since I was 18 and I'm 27.
Okay. So what age were you when you got your first million? You were like, oh my God. Or I don't know if you said that, but I would like, oh my God, there's a million.
26.
26. Okay. 26. So yeah. So 1/3 of your life you spent becoming a millionaire.
I spent 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. When I count those years on my hands and you go, holy crap, that's almost a decade. Now it seems like a long time. And I'm talking 10, back then, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 is when I wrote my first book, 24, 25, 26. I was reading and listening to audiobooks on a short day, 5 hours, on a long day, 10 to 12 hours. I would ditch class and go to the beach and just stare at the ocean and listen to audio tapes and read books. And I would do that because, you know, you go to school for 8 hours, 9 hours.
Yeah.
And I would ditch the whole class and go to the ocean and just sit there. And because in college, you don't have to show up, right? In college, like they don't like take roll call, like, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I would just ditch class. And then on the drive there, 45-minute drive there, 45-minute drive back, that was another hour and a half that I'd listen to audio. I became addicted because one of my mentors, he told me, he said, and he said this from stage for a room full of successful people. He's like, how many of you would, for just 1 hour a day, every day of your life for 10 years straight, you would get anything in the world, any money, any body, any relationship, any experience, any house, anything in the world you want, magic wand, boom. If in 10 years, you could have anything you want, if 1 hour a day, every day for 10 years, just an hour a day, you shoveled elephant poop. How many of you would shovel elephant poop for 1 hour a day, every day for 10 straight years? Just an hour a day. If at the end of the 10 years, you could have anything you want. And everybody's hand went up. And I was like 18 when I heard this in the back of the room.
Right.
Like one of my very first seminars ever. And this guy's like a billionaire. And I'm in the back of the room and everyone's in suits and ties, which is impressive. You know, when you're 18 years old, you're like all these successful people. And everybody's hand went up. And of course, mine was like, of course, I'll be 28 years old. I'm 27. I'll be 28 years old and I'll have everything I want, which of course back then it was $1 million, which now is nothing. And so I was like, and then here's the cool part. He's like, now just replace the shoveling of the elephant poop with reading a book for an hour a day. That's going to give you the knowledge and the skill sets and the insight and the awareness to take action to put you in the direction of achieving that 10-year goal, and do it for 1 hour a day, every day. And then, because this is my mindset, it's always been my mindset. What would 5 hours a day do?
Exactly.
That's always been my mindset. What would 10 hours a day do? And I never asked that, but I think we all know. Well, if somebody says you want to get in good shape, go to the gym for 10 minutes a day. What would an hour a day do? You're going to get in shape faster. So long story short, I immediately started studying 10 hours a day after that, because what he said was just 1 hour a day, every day for a year is 9 40-hour weeks. And a decade, and a decade is 90 40-hour weeks. Wow. That means you spend almost 2.5 years as a full-time job just learning how to achieve your 10-year goal. 2.5 years as a full-time job, just 1 hour a day. So imagine 5 hours a day. And for the last 10 years, basically 9 years, I've been studying at least 1 hour a day.
Wow.
And here I am. And all these books behind me are about how to be a happy, healthy, wealthy individual.
You did mention, we are going to get to the personal branding part, I swear. But you did
mention.
mention.
I talk about that stuff all day.
Okay, but we're not to our audience though. Okay, so you did mention your top 5 books. Do you know off the top of your head what those top 5 are?
They're right behind me. I can just like summon them.
Oh, what are they? Okay.
I have
Oh,
so
I
many,
see them levitating right now.
yeah, they're levitating. I have so many good ones. It's always hard for me to just pick five because my five
Yeah.
for a kid would be different than five for somebody who wants spiritual fulfillment, marketing, business, finance. But five that I think are omnipresent for everybody of all ages would
Mm-hmm.
be Tony Robbins, Awaken the Giant Within,
Mm-hmm.
John Assaraf, Having It All,
Mm-hmm.
Jay Abraham, How to Get Everything You Can Out of All You've Got,
Mm-hmm.
then Claire Graves' Spiral Dynamics,
Okay.
and then my fifth one, I'm going to go with the OG classic, Think and Grow Rich.
Think great. Cool. I love it. I love it. I actually
And
saw
there's so
Jay.
many good ones, but I'm going to do those five because those five changed my life.
That's awesome. I love it. I love it. Now, I saw Jay Abrams speak at an event, and oh my gosh, just incredible, right?
Wicked smart, yeah.
Yeah, wicked. Yeah, just crazy smart. And he is to the point. He doesn't want to waste, he doesn't want anybody to waste his time, and he doesn't want to waste anybody else's time. It's so awesome.
Right.
So let's talk about this. I wrote out a couple questions. I want to make sure I asked you these. Okay, so what is personal branding, and why should somebody care about it or work on theirs?
Personal branding in a nutshell is what you and I are doing right now. It's the people watching right now. You're just being. Personal branding is just being. The difference between developing a personal brand and just being a personal brand is having the awareness to recognize that all the time people are looking at you, talking to you, judging you, perceiving you in a certain way, and it's impacting your success. It's impacting your relationships. It's impacting who thinks about you for opportunities, who thinks about you for not opportunities. It's staying top of shelf and a positive perception in people's minds so that there's a potential benefit that you can get. And so that potential benefit, though, comes from helping people. And so if you can position yourself to add value in people's lives and not ask for anything, then people are always going on social media, and eventually they want to come and follow you. They want to learn from you. They want to watch your videos because all you do is add value. You're just being, but you're aware that everyone's on. There's 2 billion people on social media, 2 billion. But guess what? There's only a couple people that each one of us can think of right now that we follow, that we like, that we look at as thought leaders, that we look at as influential people, that we want to, during our time of wasting time on social media and aimlessly going, there's only a few people that we actually want to follow. And when we have that little bit of time and we go on Facebook and we go and we aimlessly look at all the stuff on there and who responded to our stuff, and then we go, oh, you know what? I'm gonna go.
I never waste time on Facebook. Okay, go on.
Well, the average person checks Facebook 7 times a day and spends a total of 40 minutes.
Oh, that's all?
That's all, exactly. I spend way more than that. But then again, I make a lot of money on Facebook. So I'm not just aimlessly just wasting time. I'm impacting lives and making money. But that's the difference. There's 2 billion people who are wasting time on Facebook. And guess what? When people are getting hired for an employee, not just for entrepreneurship and how personal branding can change your life and your business and be your best competitive advantage, but as an employee, your boss, before choosing to hire you, your hiring manager is going to go, and this is like 85% of hiring managers, check social media before making their final decision. Because guess what? It's so easy to smooth talk your way in an interview. If you have any bit of skill and game. It's so easy to fabricate a resume or a cover letter and then, hey, and then just play it off in an interview. If I want to know who you really are, I'm going to go on Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm going to go all the way back to the last couple weeks, the last couple months, maybe the last year. And I'm going to see who you really are. And I'm going to see who your friends are and who you hang out with and the type of people that are conditioning you. So after work, who are you then? Because that's who you really are. You're not who you are in work is not who you really are. Who you are out of work in your environment when no one's looking, that's who you really are. And what you post on social media is either, oh, you're putting on the front, but either way, I'll find some little leak in the crack if I go back far enough on social media. And that's what hiring managers do. And that validates all of us have personal brands. A personal brand is just who you are. And when you have the awareness that everybody's already looking at who you are online and you take advantage of that and you position yourself in a certain way, now you're finally on the path to having leverage over who you are. Most people have no leverage over who they are. No one knows you, likes you, and trusts you at scale enough And that's why you don't have the connections you want, the experiences you want, the inner circle you want, the opportunities you want, the money you want, because not enough people know you, like you, and trust you at scale. People trust you, they give you opportunities. People trust you, they give you money. People trust you, they buy from you. People trust you, they give you that job they want, that promotion that you want. They partner with you. And so the reason why I'm so passionate about personal branding, and I can go on, is because as I started studying all these people, I realized, yeah, people talk about sales and marketing and funnels and email marketing, but let's just be honest. As I got in the industry, the most successful ones all have personal brands. All of them. All the people who are on stage, who are on shows, who are featured in publications, who have books, who all promote each other, who all talk about each other, who all interview each other, who all share the stages with each other, they're all the most well-known people. And guess what? The most well-known people are always the most successful. And so as all the most well-known people become friends, they all promote each other, and they have this monopoly, and they all tell you, you should build a funnel. You should do marketing. You should do sales. But what they don't tell you is that usually 80% of their revenue comes from all of each other promoting each other. 20% of the revenue, 20% of the revenue comes from actually doing the thing that they tell you, which is you should create ads and webinars and funnels and do this. Yeah, they really do make money, and they really are successful at it. But the majority of their revenue comes from all of each other promoting each other to each other's email lists and arbitraging the whole thing. So guess what? It's the personal brand and the partnerships with other personal brands where the real money is. And nobody tells you that.
Wow. That's so, I mean, I just got like blown away by all that, and just thinking of all these different questions, because, so I'll just like quick, not backstory, but this was about 3.5 years ago when I started to discover who I am and started going through my own transformational journey. So I was age 51 when I started discovering who I am. So working on, first of all, trying to discover who I am so that I could figure out what a personal brand even means for me. And then, so for example, I was asked this question. So for the last couple of years, I've been trying to figure things out, and my me has changed because I've grown so much and I've discovered so much. So if somebody looked at me 2 years ago, they'd see a totally different person than I am now, but I am still.
If they followed your growth, they will see, remember, it's not, I'm finding out who I am. I think that's the wrong thing, because if you study enough, when you find out who you are, you're just your unique self. You're an ever-changing, omnipresent piece of energy that is one unique piece of consciousness energy that is part of an infinite conscious energy, and you are one unique piece of one piece of energy. You are just one with the oneness. So you'll never actually find you, because you are everything, and everything is you. And so you'll realize that you're never going to find yourself. You'll just come back to the conclusion that you are everything, and everything is you. I am you, and you are me. So the more you study this, you'll realize you never actually find yourself. You create yourself, because you're everything, and everything is either growing or dying, and you are either growing or dying. So to try to find yourself, all you're ever doing is creating yourself, which is why you said, if you followed me, I'm the same person, but I've grown. And so that's the point. Most people never grow. And so if people follow you and you share lessons of how you've been growing, they too want to learn how to grow, and they follow you. That's why people follow health and wellness fitness influencers, because they are more healthy than you are. They show you their before pictures when they look like you, and now they're not like you. And they teach you how they got there, and you want to follow them. Tony Robbins and all these other guys teach you when they were broke and fat and unhappy and sick and this and this and this. And then they teach you how they got here, and you follow them because of it. That is personal branding.
Oh man, awesome. So I'm getting there.
You're just creating yourself into the better version of what you say you really want, and other people say they want, but they're not doing what you're doing. You're saying, I want this, I am this, I create this, and you're doing it, and you teach them how to actually take action in the right way. Stop sitting there saying you want to make more money, and actually do these things, and you'll get there.
Right, you have to put into action, right? You have to take the steps and get into action. And I know we wanted to talk about, just quickly about live video. I've done over 2,000 live videos.
And I was like, I'm so proud of you for doing that, because most people, it's so easy to talk yourself out of doing it, especially when you do it and don't see instant results. That's why personal branding is so hard to sell. That's why nobody sells it, because nobody's taking the spot like I am. And in 2018, it's just, it's a game over. I own personal branding. If you think of personal branding, you think of me, and I can say that confidently because no one else is teaching it. And the reason why is because it's not a magic pill. It's easier for me to teach you, set up a landing page, do these little pixels and remarketing, make the headline say this, here's my swipe copy that made me $80 million,
right?
And blah, 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 blah. Do this, and I'll show you how I made $700,000 in 2 days. And and how Bob and Billy and Susie and, blah, 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 Chris and Joe and blah, 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 how they all were really successful too. By the way, disclaimer, all of these are not, blah, 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 blah. I've helped tens of thousands of people, and these are the top 5 people that I'm showing you, obviously. Guess what? Then you go and do that thing, and you don't get the results.
Nope.
But it's easier to sell something like that than it is for me when I sell personal branding. And I say, I want you to do something that I also want you to do it, not expecting to get any results for 12 months.
Mm-hmm.
And because personal branding is not an overnight success, it's not an overnight pill. It actually is probably more of a 3 to 5 to 7 to 10 year payoff than anything else.
Wow.
That's why most people don't do it, because in all honesty, personal branding in realistic terms for the average person who doesn't just have millions of dollars in a big successful company who goes, oh, and can just make their personal brand a success overnight because they have the capital and the resources to do it.
Mm-hmm.
For the average person who's starting off at ground zero, it's going to be a 3 to 5 to 7 to 10 year payoff, but it will be the best investment you've ever made, both from a fulfillment standpoint of how much it fulfills you to have to grow and learn and teach and give back and contribute and hear people tell you how much of a difference you've made in their life. That part is super fulfilling and rewarding, but also 3, 5, 7, and 10 years down the road, it has the largest payoff because people have been following you. Mm-hmm. And other people building their personal brands follow you. And you build a tribe of everyone who's committed to their personal brands. And guess what? Nature, as it is, trees grow, drop seeds, trees die, seeds grow. Tony Robbins grows, Tony Robbins gets old, Tony Robbins dies like Jim Rohn and Zig Ziglar, and they're gone. And Tony Robbins is gone, and Grant Cardone and Gary Vee are gone. And there's new people taking their place. Will it be you?
Yes, it will. It is. It is. That's awesome. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Just thinking about that makes me realize that I am on the right path, because it has been a slow process, but I'm starting to see the momentum, I guess I want to say, starting to see the momentum pick up and things are changing in my life. And it's already started just in December, so a month ago, where I started noticing the differences and the quickness of, how it's like exponential, I guess. Yeah. Even in personal growth, it becomes exponential, and personal branding, right? Because once you get on that path and you start building your know, like, and trust, and people can really, truly, honestly believe you and you're authentic, I think it's very important for personal branding.
That's the most important part. My success, my happiness, my stress levels, my success and happiness went up. My stress levels went down. As soon as I stopped thinking I had to look a certain way, talk a certain way, act a certain way, you can tell on these interviews, I just don't care. And I don't care in a bad way. I don't care what people think about me in a good way, meaning that I'm just being me. I'm just being me. I'm not worried about what I'm going to say. I'm not worried about how I look. And that's the difference, is when people can feel your authentic self and that you're just being you and that you have no, ulterior motive. And if you do, you at least call it out and call a spade and say, hey, there is a catch, right? Yeah. And they're like, oh, it's being transparent. It's just, man, it's so powerful. So I'm glad you brought that up.
It really is. And what I like to say is, it's not that I don't care. It's that I'm not going to let what people think about me affect me.
Better way of saying it. Perfect.
Thank you. Because I used to let it affect me tremendously. And
me too, all of us, yeah.
Yeah, since I changed that, just that one thing right there, that one change was a huge shift for me to step into who I am being and who I'm going to become, and making my changes and just evolving as a human being,
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I love it. These are powerful talks right here.
I could talk to you for like ever. And I actually did. I did say the word like. Oh my gosh, I'm trying not to do that, but what the heck? I called it out, right? And like,
that's good. That's the awareness. Like one of my mentors taught me. He's a top professional speaker, and he said, when you speak, whether it's on camera or whether it's on stage, don't address people as like when you do a selfie video or when the camera comes on. Don't say, or on stage to an audience, don't say, you guys. Hey, you guys. Well, thanks for being here. Right. You guys are doing great jobs. Thanks so much for you guys for being here this weekend. You guys don't have to be here, but you are. Don't say you guys, say you. hey, it's so good to have you joining us right now. Then you're speaking to the person. So I catch myself saying you guys. I want to let you know. You catch yourself saying like, I catch myself saying you guys. It's a little thing to be aware of.
But it's good because awareness is the first
step to change. Yeah.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, I could totally talk to you forever. I said totally too. Okay. Okay, so let me see. So back to live video. Let's talk about that just briefly.
There's really no difference between live video and non-live video. The only difference is that when you're doing a live video, there's no editing. So you really have to.
Which is so brilliant. I love it.
The best. You really have to be your authentic self. And I think live video really helps you realize that it's better to not feel like you have to always put an Instagram filter on. It's better to make you always feel like that you can't go back and edit it. And I love that. I mean, we're doing it right now. Like, I don't know if any of this is going to get edited or not, but there's been so much of you and me just being us anyways that there's, right? It's like, well, there's nothing to edit. We're just being ourselves. And I think that's big because I think a lot of people are always, first of all, they're afraid to get on camera in the first place.
Yeah.
But live video is really good because it helps you build the muscles of not thinking that you have a crutch to edit.
That's so true. And it saves a lot of time.
It saves a lot of time and money. Yeah.
Oh my God. And yeah, a lot of time and money. Oh my gosh, it's crazy. And what it did for me, I'll just share really quickly what it did for me is it actually helped my confidence level. I used to be, I was introverted, like you mentioned, introvert when you were young. Yeah. And I used to be the back of the room person. I never wanted to raise my hand.
I still am that way.
Oh my gosh. But this has made me come out of that shell. And really it was the live videos that helped me to feel more comfortable saying something out loud in front of people. You know, like that was the big thing for me.
I'm going to jump in on that because I think one of the important factors about the confidence part is that we all say we want to have more impact. We all say we'd like to make a difference in the world. We all say we want to have more money. And we all say, if just more people knew about my product or my service or my business or my story, it'd make a difference. But yet we don't actually get on camera. And we all deep down inside know that the stage and the camera are the best tools to impact people's lives. They're also the highest paying jobs in the world. If you get really good on camera as an entertainer, like The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, $65 million last year.
Ooh. The
highest paid jobs in the world are speakers and entertainers. And guess what? Speakers and entertainers are always in front of people and they're always on stages and they're always on camera. And so if you say you want to make the money, if you say you want to have the impact, I'm not saying you have to be a celebrity. I'm not saying you have to be an entertainer. I'm not saying you have to change that. What I'm saying is you have to own the reality that if you really want to have the level of impact and influence and opportunities and success and people in your lives that you want to attract and the money and all those things, it's going to be in direct proportion to how often you're willing to push yourself into the uncomfortable feeling of being on camera and being on stage until it becomes natural. And then you'll have the income and the impact and the influence and the relationships and the opportunities that you want, that you say you want, that you dream about, that you say other people are lucky that have them because you don't, but really they're putting in all the time. And then your confidence goes up, like you said, because for the first time in your life, or maybe for the second or third or fourth or fifth time in your life, you're actually doing and committing to the thing that you know is going to make you more successful and have an impact. And it's like Gandhi, I think, says, when what you say, do, and think are all in alignment, you finally have happiness. And I feel like most people are not fully happy because what they say, what they do, and what they think are not all in alignment. You think you want these things, you say you want these things, but you ain't doing them.
Right.
And when you push through being uncomfortable, like, I really want to get in good shape, go to the gym. And then you go to the gym and it's uncomfortable and it hurts, but you do it anyways. After the gym, do you always feel great? Of course. And it's the same thing with being on camera and speaking. So I just wanted to bring that up for people. You feel phenomenal after you do it. Like after you speak, you go, oh, that wasn't as bad as I thought. After you get the shot at the doctors, I hate needles. So I get the shot and I'm like, and then I'm like, oh, that wasn't as bad as I thought. And it's the same thing with speaking and it's the same thing with being on camera. You just got to get over that initial awkwardness and know it's probably going to be there. For me, I'm assuming for you too, I had thousands of times it was just garbage straight in the trash can.
Yep. Yeah. Well, that's the one thing about live is I just keep mine up there. So people can.
You'll look back though in 2 years and be like, whoa. And I go back and I just delete some of this stuff. Like on YouTube, I used to have all these videos on there and I was like, oh my God, they're so embarrassing. 5 years ago, I was so bad. And so I don't want people to look me up and like be like, I thought you said market life was good. And then they see an old video. So I'm like, I got to clean that, clean out the garbage. But you just got to know it's there. And again, to your point, I filmed it, I uploaded it, it was there, it did its purpose. But now I can get rid of it and I can put all my good stuff up. But again, you got to miss those free throws at first to become Steph Curry,
And that's a good point, because they do say that you have to do 10,000 hours. I don't know where the number 10,000 came from, but 10,000 hours of something. So before you become an expert at it.
And you got to practice. The difference between doing 10,000 hours of the same thing over and over again versus 10,000 hours of hyper-focused awareness to how tracking and measuring each thing produces a certain result. So there's like 10,000 hours of being focused and aware and having coaches and advisors and people looking at you, improving you, versus just doing 10,000 hours of the same thing. Think about that. All of us live the same life. There's more than 10,000 hours in a regular person's life. There's tens of thousands of hours in a person's life. And it's like, most people just live the same life over and over again.
Yeah.
So it's not just doing something for 10,000 hours for the audience, not for you and I, but for the audience listening. It's not just about putting in 10,000 hours or reps. It's about having other people there and yourself there to look and be like, how can I be better than I was yesterday, so that the next hour is not the last hour and the next hour is not the last hour, but every hour is actually getting better. So in 10,000 hours, I've actually become an expert. That's why I hate when I work with business owners, I've been in business for 20 years. And I go, yeah, but you've been doing the same year for 20 years.
Yeah, exactly. It's Groundhog Day for 20 years, right?
Yeah.
Groundhog year. I love it. I love it. Yeah, that's no fun. Oh, yes, it is, because you get the great results on treadmill.
Well, for fitness, but not in business.
Yeah, not the business treadmill.
Yeah.
So Lacey, I know we're like our time is going over, but I want to ask Lacey one last question. You say you want to show 1 million people how to build and grow their personal brand, and so how will you know? Like, how do you know that measurement that it's 1 million?
It's simple. You look at the video. Oh, how will I know that I've impacted 1 million people?
Yeah.
Oh, because I'll have given away 1 million. People will have given me their email for my blueprint.
Oh.
So I'll have 1 million people's emails that have literally said, I'll give you my email for your blueprint, 1 person. I'll give you my email for your blueprint, 2 people. And I'll do that 1 million times.
Okay. So how can we get your blueprint?
It's easy. Just go to shortenthegap.com. Shorten the gap. Yeah. So shorten the gap. Here's where you are. Here's where you want to be. Shorten the gap. And shortenthegap.com. And then we give away the blueprint on there for free. And we actually walk you through it. We don't just give you the blueprint and hope you know what to do with it. We actually have video trainings and workbooks for free.
Wow, that's awesome.
Because my goal is not, I want to sell 1 million people on the blueprint. I want to give away 1 million people the blueprint. Because I know that inevitably, that if I can give away the blueprint, some people are going to impact hundreds of thousands of people with the blueprint. Some people are going to impact hundreds. Some people aren't going to do anything with it. But I know that it'll probably even out. And if I can give away 1 million blueprints to people, I know that law of averages, the people that don't do anything with it versus the ones that are okay versus good versus great versus extraordinary versus like the couple, 1 or 2 people that I turn into the next so-and-so rock star, it'll all even out that 1 million people, if they can just all impact 1,000 people, then I will have created a ripple effect that's impacted 1 billion lives through personal branding.
That's awesome. And hopefully that will ripple down to children. And
that's one of my big passions, is that the education system is extremely flawed and broken. And I can say that having just gone through it from, young, youth, child to college graduate. And I think there's that's a whole other tangent I could go on, but there's a lot of issues in the education space from my perspective. And a lot of other people align with that belief. Cost of education goes up, job opportunities go down. There's a discorrelation between the cost of the education system going up, but the opportunities that they're supposed to get are actually decreasing. And not to mention the education for most of the time is garbage anyways. But that's, again, a whole other thing. My focus and passion is youth and helping and give back to them. And I'm on the charity of the LEAP Foundation, which is an organization that inspires and educates and motivates kids with a summer camp program. What was the name of the nonprofit again? The LEAP Foundation, LEAP, Leadership Excellence Accelerated Potential. Okay. LEAP Foundation. I love that. I love that. I've done a lot of nonprofit work, so I totally relate to that. And I completely agree about the education system. And there's a lot more people that are speaking out about the education system and how it's flawed. So hopefully there'll be some changes soon down the line, and do our best to play a part in that.
and
Yeah.
looking forward to being part of it. Well, Mark, thank you so much. The time you spent with me, and we went 45 minutes. I was hoping for 30, but shoot, I could talk to you forever.
I get lost in it. I just want to serve. We've just been having fun. We're just talking anyways, but I'm excited for just, even if one person gets impacted by this, then we did our job for the night.
And that's a great point, right? Because it's the ripple effect, because the one person isn't the one person. It doesn't stop there. Because when we impact one person's life, it does ripple down to other people. And it's evidenced by the world. It just happens all over the place. So,
yeah.
So thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you at Massive Success Breakthrough. And I'm speaking on stage, my first time.
I love it. Nice.
Wish me well.
Oh, you'll crush it. It's just like this. It's easy.
Well, thank you so much. And I'll see you there, okay?
You got it. I'll see you in a couple weeks.